Hello everyone, this is Jimmy and welcome to episode 24 of Nuclear Earth Reirradiated, where we are working on eventually making the essence of the Eternal Sword. If you've forgotten, yeah, this is a recipe. So, as the saying goes, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Our current bite is the infused crystal sword. So that's made in the Starlight infuser, which requires a celestial altar. And so far, we've only made ourselves a Starlight crafting altar. So I suppose the next natural goal or step is to upgrade our altar to a celestial altar. Thankfully, that's pretty simple. We just need some stardust and star metal. Now, normally you have to go jump through some hoops to get stardust and star metal. However, because of the void miners we just have access to a whole lot of lag apparently. But a whole lot of this star metal ore, thousands upon thousands, almost 100,000 of it. So it smelts directly into an ingot, or I believe, yeah, it crushes into 2 ores. Can we get better than 2 out of curiosity? Oh, right, I saw this recipe earlier. If we process it in an industrial grinder with liquid starlight, we get a resonating gem out of it as well. And 4 stardust, no big deal. But a resonating gem, this saves the trouble of doing a starlight infusion. Alright then, let's start by setting up a liquid starlight factory. So this is made by melting basically anything of your choice through a light well. I think what I'll do is I'll set up we have tons of aquamarine, right? Yeah, I'll take our aquamarine, add that to ore processing, because I think our ore processing system, oh my gosh, I'm so lost. 180s. Our ore processing system has gone through just about all of its backlog. Yeah, so most of these are basically not running. So if I add it to, let's see, it's on my main ME network, and items on my main ME network don't get exposed here, right? This is a subnet, so I'll have to add another interface here. It's getting a little bit crowded, shall we say, right here. We'll make it work. All right, so if I put this interface here, it's on my main network, and I can attach an item interface, a very different type of interface here, and it can pull these items into the smelters. Perfect. So that'll take our aquamarine and process it. It gives us 3 aquamarine when we smelt it. As far as I know, that's just about the highest yield, with the exception of, nope, that's just the highest yield period. I guess with the grinding ball, we can get more out of a sag mill. Why does it give cobble? It gives sand. Whatever. But yeah, I don't care about the excess yield for this. So, whole point of that though is that now we have an infinite supply of aquamarine rocks. Wow, it goes through it fast. Didn't we have oh no, I guess the 100,000 with star metal. I mean, it still goes through it very fast. It's already processed almost 3,000 pieces of aquamarine. Our ore processor is monstrous. But yeah, this aquamarine now can be melted in a light well array to turn it all into star powder, liquid starlight, that thing. To make working with Astral Sorcery a little bit easier, that might not be in range. Whoops. I want to try to get access to our ME system. Yeah, I didn't expect the items to slide quite so far. But anyways, I want to get access to our ME system over on that floating platform up there. So let's make ourselves a quantum ring to be able to wirelessly send ME access up there. Is this not the tiny TNT recipe? Oh, it's gunpowder. Second time's the charm. So for that, I'm going to need a quantum... Oh, come on! Dang it, magnet! No half measures. So this is made by putting singularity and ender dust in an explosion. And it doesn't need to be a small explosion. A large explosion should work. And what's left behind are 2 quantum entangled singularities. So these have a MBT tag on them that's ostensibly unique. It should at least be unique to your world. And that means that these 2 are specifically linked to each other. Then we can build 1 quantum link chamber on one side. Where do I even put it? Let's slip it over here. And then put 1 of them in it and put the other one on the other side. And they form a wireless applied air distance link. Once you build the ring on the output side, make sure to power the output side. It it's able to send energy through the link, but you have to connect it before you basically, you know, chicken or egg, right? You have to power it in order for it to send power through. Anyways, once you have it hooked up, then you can just connect your usual. Personally, I prefer to transfer the P2P subnet through the link, but that's just a matter of personal preference. It means that if I need more than 32 channels on this side, I have easy access to it. But yeah, with that, we can then link this up, and then it's just as if we ran a really long wire from wherever our base is, right, 300-ish meters away over to here. So just at 300 meters, it's debatable whether or not the link chamber is actually cheaper than just 300 pieces of dense ME conduit, but this can go interdimensional, which is pretty nice because no number of dense ME conduits get to go interdimensional. The reason I ran our ME system up to here is so that I could have an interface stocking aquamarines for the melting, and then those will go into a bunch of light wells. Let's see, let's float them one block off the ground. You have to insert an exit, or I think maybe you can insert any side. No, I think you do have to insert the bottom. You definitely have to extract the bottom though. So it's most easy if you float your light wells a couple blocks off the ground so that you can actually like access the insertion points. So item conduits and fluid conduits are great for this because they let you do both items and fluids in one block space. To actually store all this liquid starlight that comes out, I'm going to use Applied Energistics fluid storage. I don't use it often, but I figure now is as good a time as any for it. So if I get a bucket, actually I probably don't even need a bucket of it anymore, now that I can set filters through JEI. So I'm going to partition a fluid cell. This is a very large fluid cell, effectively infinite for all practical intents and purposes, but not truly. Yep, that's right. So partition it to only hold liquid starlight, put it in an ME drive, and then now if I pump those fluids into a fluid interface, why exactly do I have this patterned? Oh, I was using it to move like hydrogen or something around? No, that doesn't make sense. Hydrogen's not a fluid, it's a gas. Who knows? But we insert that to here, and then if we get a fluid terminal, we should be able to see our fluid counts. No? No, I don't get a fluid terminal. That's awkward. How do I see how much fluid I have? I mean, I guess I don't. Huh. Okay then. It's not being stored in here right now though. Why is that? Let's try partitioning this again. With an actual bucket this time. Maybe it has something to do with the fact that I partitioned it through JEI. It says, let's see. Yeah, it says it's for liquid starlight. Definitely on the network. But why is my starlight not being stored in here? Do the thing. Let's see what happens if I use a unpartitioned cell. Because this should be the only fluid being inserted. No, so the interface is not inserting here. But why? This interface should be on the network. Do that. Now this interface is definitely on the network. Is my drive not on the... I mean, the drive is definitely on the network as well. Alright, for some reason, maybe it's something to do with my Trousers edition of Applied Energistics, but yeah, fluid storage not working. In that case, we'll use the next best thing. The black hole tank holds that many millibuckets of liquid starlight. It's significantly more than the drive and probably also cheaper. So all things considered, this is probably a better place to end up in the, you know, a better place to end up anyways. Because this recipe, it's one of those standard work down your rabbit hole. I mean, I guess it's just a bunch of certus and lapis. I don't know. Either way, what's done is done. We can now hold a whole lot of starlight. So with that, let's grab a grinder and set up just a single industrial grinder that can make resonating whatever for us on demand. Unfortunately, this industrial grinder cannot fully duplicate the effects of the Starlight Infuser. The Starlight Infuser can do more than just make resonating gems. But, oh, look, we can make clay in it. That's balanced. But yeah, oh, look, we can this recipe actually, because we can turn Eyes of Ender back into blaze powder, it technically is a way to make to make blaze powder for free. Not that making blaze powder in a Starlight infuser is particularly game breaking or anything, but yeah, it can't do all of these recipes. It can realistically only duplicate that one. So since I'm about to make a Starlight infuser anyways, I question whether what I'm doing right now is worth it, but it's already done, so too bad. Now I can then request both Stardust and Star Metal. Oops, that's not Star Metal. Or to make Star Metal, I'm just directly smelting the ore, because if I turn the ore into dust, it's, in order to smelt it, we have to arc furnace it, and that's kind of not worth. So I'm just going to directly smelt the ore into ingots 1-to-1 and accept the fact that my 99,000 Star Metal ore is going to suffice. So anyways, there were quests for various of these things. Let's just complete them really quick. Using that Stardust, I want to start production of celestial crystals. So that's done by tossing a rock crystal and a piece of Stardust into a puddle of liquid Starlight and letting it sit there a while. I'm somewhat curious. I think actually they disable magnet interactions, which is really... Nope, just kidding, I lied. Well, we're gonna have to put our magnet away for this bit. I mean, we could also just put the magnet disable... Oops, I do need my terminal. But we could just put our magnet... Get the magnet disabling flower, but I think at this point our magnet's more trouble than it's worth because we're not really mining ever. Where did my terminal? It's still down there. Give that to me. After a couple seconds, the two will coalesce together into a crystal cluster, and then this thing takes about half an hour to an hour to grow. So set it, forget it, come back later. Conveniently, that leaves us at nighttime when I can upgrade our altar now. So now that I have the star whatever, it goes into upgrading it. And then almost immediately we can craft the Starlight infuser because it doesn't use any fancy ingredients. It does require us to upgrade the multi-block around the altar though. So probably under attunement here. If we can find it. The Celestial Altar. But the multi-block is just a whole bunch of low-cost marble components as well. Build the upgraded structure around it as shown in the book, and voila, our Celestial Altar is ready. So as you can see, each time we upgrade, the bar appears to go down. I believe it's the same amount of Starlight if it were assigned a numerical value. It's just that the altar has a greater capacity, so relatively speaking, relative to the max, it goes down. But now that I have this, I can use it to craft the Starlight infuser. We probably can't craft it during the day quite yet, but what time is it? It's almost evening. Yep, looks like we don't have nearly enough Starlight to craft this quite yet. So in the... Oh wait, is this the east? This direction... This is east. Oh, so it's still morning. We still have over half a day till nighttime. Whoops, about to say, the sun looks higher in the sky than it was like a minute ago. Then for now, let's work on the next thing, which is to upgrade our altar to the iridescent tier. For this, we need... I guess the only thing we're missing is a celestial crystal. Let's see if one of these has finished growing yet. Oh, look. It appears to have finished growing. If you look on the right side, right over here, it says stage 4. That is the final stage. It lets off these particles. So you can... Whoopsies. I suppose I want my magnet back all of a sudden. But now we can get a celestial crystal off of it. This is a 90 purity one. It's actually pretty good, but I'm going to use it for crafting anyways. The higher the purity, the better the crystal is for growing. Ideally, you eventually want some perfect crystals that is 100 all stat, but to do that, you have to... Basically, purity is the hardest stat to level up, so having a high starting purity value is good. That said, I think we can start better than 90. So we're going to use this crystal for crafting to upgrade our altar to the iridescent? Something? Iridescent altar. As the sun sets, I've also gathered up the materials for a couple of other altars, hoping one of these will be at least a little bit cheaper. Not that one. I don't even see the bar cost on this one. Does that mean I have the wrong recipe? Or does that mean I can just start it? No. But the attunement altar lets us attune ourselves to a constellation for various buffs. It's also needed for further progression, but I don't think we actually have to get terribly late into Astral Sorcery this pack, which is nice. I'm hoping to avoid having to set up a a rock crystal farm, because it's a relatively high amount of work, and unless we need it for progression, I've done it before in a whole bunch of other series. So if it turns out that the furthest we have to go in Astral Sorcery is the this thing, Starlight Infuser, then I'm happy to just call it when we get there. But let's see. It mostly depends on, is there a sword past here, or one of the things that go into the super sword that does require the something past Starlight Infuser. But like this, the Infused Crystal Sword is the highest tier sword in Astral Sorcery, so we might get away with it this time. But anyways, hum away, do your crafting. I kind of miss having a time in a bottle for this little bit. Most of the time in a bottle is just like a small convenience. I mean, I guess this is just a small convenience, but does the craft really need to take 30 seconds? I say no. Anyways, let's make our other altars as well. When you're doing your altar stuff like this, make sure you upgrade your altar last, because once you upgrade the altar, you can't use it again until you've upgraded the multi-block as well. So last but not least, oh, did I? Okay, thank God. When you shift click the recipe in for this thing, I forgot to check to make sure it was using the rock crystal and not the celestial crystal. All right, so ooh, fancy particles. Upgrade time. This is the last altar tier, and it has the easiest multi-block to build in my opinion, because it's a superset of the existing one, so you just have to add a whole bunch of marble brick to it. And when it's done, that crystal shows up floating in the air, and we have a lot. Well, I guess it's nighttime. Never mind. That's why our starlight bar is more than half full. So even in a starfield, in the dead of night, clear weather, the top tier altar does not fill its starlight bar by default. If we need more starlight than this, which there are a lot of recipes that do use more starlight than this, we'll have to do some tricks. But as I said, I'm hoping that we can avoid having to do that. So in fact, I'm even going to not set up our attunement altar, and we're just going to set up our Starlight Infuser next. Likewise, this has a multi-block that is just a whole bunch of marble. I really wish there was a tool that could auto-build these for you. I know that there's a sextant, I believe. This thing can show, not this version of the sextant, the basic sextant, it can show you the position of all the blocks. I mean, let's build one. Maybe it's been updated to actually build for you since. No such luck. All it does is put little holograms where your blocks go. Still helpful, but not quite as helpful as auto building it for you. The Starlight the Starlight Infuser requires a little bit of maintenance in order to keep it running. So as you use it, it'll drain the liquid starlight out of the puddles around it. To infuse a sword, I think it might actually be guaranteed to drain all 12 of them, but to do stuff like the resonating gem, it'll randomly drain, you know, at most 1 or 2 of them. But what you have to do is then refill any that have been drained afterwards to keep using it. But for now, this is actually just all I was after. So our infused crystal sword is done, and if we need to do more with the infuser later, I will automate it when that time comes. With that out of the way, let's drop our exact crystal swords into the recipe so that they have exact MBT data. Put those away, and then continue down the list. Next up, the Skullfire sword. This is a relatively easy extreme crafting recipe. All right, let's just make one of these. And why make just one if instead you can teach your army system to make them on demand? So that'll make the Skullfire sword in just a second. Let's keep working down the list. Mana Steel, Elementium Trivial. I'm going to just skip the trivial ones. Like, sure, we're going to have to literally make it, but that's just as simple as dropping a recipe in, right? So most of these are trivial. Withered Median. What is this? Oh, another amethyst. Okay. Do I have that? I have more than enough. I assume that's just a different stick. Frosted Witherbone. Oh, where do I get a frost rod from? I assume a mob in the snow biome drops it. Let's go. Do I have looting on any of these swords? Oh, look, our Skullfire sword's done. Guess not. Forgot about my nano saber. That does have looting on it. So anyways, if I had to guess, one of the mobs that spawns over here must be responsible for dropping the ice stuff, or maybe this comes from this block. Not quite sure what's wrong with my nether, but there's actually literally no mobs anywhere. Like, there's not even pigmen spawning on netherrack or any of the other hosts. Oh wait, there's a blaze. That's the first mob I've seen since, I guess it might even be spawner spawned. No, it can't be spawner spawned, because I wasn't close enough to trigger a spawner. But yeah, haven't been able to find any of the frost mobs, unfortunately. Is this the blue ice that, or the blue fire that makes you run in random directions? No, it is not. Alright. I haven't the slightest clue why there are no mobs spawning outside of the fortresses, though. It's like there's literally 0 mobs spawned in the world right now loaded, so it can't be mob cap. I'm gonna try restarting the server, but if that doesn't work, another mod might just be broken right now. I'm back, but the mobs aren't. They're still spawning in massive densities in these nether fortresses. Like, there's not normally this many mobs here, right? Probably because mobs are failing to spawn anywhere else to take up mob cap. And I don't know which mod is responsible for that, but that might make it such that if I want to find the ice blaze that drops like the ice rod, I need to find an area where the ice biome intersects with a nether fortress. And I don't feel like doing that right now, so I'm gonna leave the sword pin and maybe I'll search later, and maybe I'll just give up and shoot myself a thing in, because is it really interactive to have to go find, you know, one of your relative... Oh wait, they just barely don't intersect here. Defeated. But is it really fun to find a place where a relatively rare thing intersects with a not terribly common biome? Not really. In that case, let's move on. Let's also clear some of our pins here. Alright, so we'll leave that one there as a reminder that we still have to do something for it, but boron is easy. Let's see, boron nitride, I believe, requires a few steps to make. There's no, like, trick here, right? We have to infuse ammonia with boric acid. Can we? No. But you have to make hexagonal. You have to make boron. Yeah. So we have to make this solution in it, which is boric acid and ammonia, which is hydrogen and okay, that's not bad. Let's just do it real quick. I already have a boric acid producer here somewhere. Probably the thing that requires boron. Diborane. Yeah, okay, so I already have boric acid. That simplifies things a bit. That means I just need the ammonia. So actually, that's literally just hydrogen and nitrogen. Alright, so that wasn't quite so bad. We should be able to just do this as a one-off process. So I'm going to just set a bunch of, like, use individual tanks to move stuff around. Anyways, that's boric. Oh no, I have to make ammonia first. Alright, give me another chemical reactor. Hey, look at that, I had another chemical reactor. Alright, into that one goes hydrogen. So if we can take gaseous hydrogen, eject on, plus nitrogen, that'll come from a, I'm pretty sure we can take Techreborn nitrogen. I don't know where I have these nitrogen cells from. They're probably a byproduct of some process. I guess the beryllium process. But anyways, take that nitrogen, shove it in there, and do your thing. Preferably with some upgrades. I expect one batch of these crystals will just be enough for basically forever. Alright, and then I need to get that ammonia into there. So we'll move it 2 blocks with conduits. This is very much not automation, but it's also efficiently good. Alright, so that makes boron nitride. I'll even void excess the water. And what do we do with this? We crystallize it. Yep. It looks like every bucket of boric acid makes 1 piece of this stuff, which we can then run through a pressurizer, which is this thing? No, that's an alloy furnace. I know I have a pressure out there somewhere. I'll just let the interface terminal find it. Thanks, Blinky interface terminal. Drop that in there, and that'll make the boron nitride crystals for the sword. Alright, there's 1 more sword down. Where are we here? So flux infuse is easy. Ruby, I assume we just have. Thaumium Void, Sword of the Zephyr. That's going to require the infusion matrix. Obviously, we weren't going to be able to avoid the infusion matrix forever, because that's what you make the actual sword on. But I think I'm just going to leave that pinned as a come back to you later, because that requires a lot of work. So, these are just basic alloys. What is wub? That's easy enough to make, right? We have tons of wub ore. Golden netherrack? Fancy. Flint sword, basic stuff. Adamantine. Alright, so this also requires infusion. Oh boy. Now we're into the difficult stuff. Let's make a Terra blade. Well, this is just Terra steel. No, it's trivial to make then. Trivial. Pretty easy to make. Thundercaller. What are these names? We need a lot of Terra blades, but they're still easy to make. Radium, we need... Okay, this is perhaps very immature of me, but doesn't this thing look like a little dick butt to you? Maybe. Maybe just me. Alright, anyways. Probably shouldn't have said that. What is this sword? I assume this is a drop off a boss somewhere. I'm gonna have to figure out... Is that bar? I'm gonna figure out how to get this one. A cyberware katana. How do we make this too? Geez, now we're into the things I don't even know how to make. Can deconstruct or scan? Interesting. Is this... Oh no. This requires the exchange tablet. We were almost through it. And then we get to the things that are a pain in the butt to make. Alright, well, everything left is a pain in the butt. So, I guess we start with... Let's start with the Ender, the 3 Ender variants, because this requires Stellar Alloy, and Stellar Alloy requires Neutronium. Maybe I'm missing the joke here, but why does it go the Ender Mark II with a number 2, and then the Ender Mark IV in Roman numerals? What happened to 3? Yeah. It's really only the last one that's expensive. I mean, 2 Neutronium's not bad, right? How much Neutronium do I have now? Yeah, I have 6,000. Our sped up reactors are actually pretty quick. The Ender's actually not half bad a weapon. 15 damage by default, and then when empowered, it goes up to 60 or plus 5, so 20. I don't know where I got 60 from. To 20 damage. Yeah, I mean, except for the fact that it costs 2 Neutronium in this pack, so that's hyper late game. Whereas, okay, this does more damage, has slower attack speed. Whatever. It's not a half bad item. I'm not sure if this is worth it, but I'm going through and adding all of the individual swords as crafting recipes to the ME system. The first issue I've run into is that apparently there's like 7 different bronze swords. We need the Embers one to craft, apparently I can only pick one as well, but we need the Embers one for the super sword. Yeah, there's 4 variants of it. Wonder which one is best. Definitely not the Embers one. Looks like by damage, the Mekanism one is the best. But the applied energetic system can't actually choose which one it gets, so we'll just manually craft our bronze sword this time. Encoding all of these swords has added, well, a whole lot of swords to our craftables here. But now when we ask for one of these, I think we're much closer to being able to actually make it. When we scroll all the way to the bottom, we see the few things we don't know how to make. Well, don't have. But yeah, at this point we're pretty close. Oh, Bristonia crystal. Skipped one. Yeah. Well, anyways, the end I would describe as being in sight. Let's wrap things up today by taking care of the last of the particularly low-hanging fruit, and that would be the wub sword. So this wub material, wub gem, put it through a squeezer, and then try auto eject on. Try that to get wub ingots. And I think it's every 8 wub gems makes you 1 ingot and gives you some sphelerite as a bonus. I also missed the black quartz sword apparently, but now there's 1, 2, 3, 8 total of our, what was it, 80 initial items. 8 are left that require some work, but we're out of time today. So we'll come back next time, start tackling these in some reasonable order. I think the Thalaxium sword here is pretty easy, but then at the high end, like this adamantine sword is going to require going through all of Thaumic additions to make. Oops. That's Thaumic. But this is actually a mod I've been wanting to play with for some time now. This Thaumic additions we constructed, namely it adds 3 new tiers of material. I guess Midnight is higher tier than adamantine or adaminite. I feel like that word's missing a syllable. I don't know. But yeah, this is a mod I've been wanting to play with for some time. It adds new tiers of Essential Smelteries, a lot of new cool Thaumcraft gadgets. In my opinion, Thaumcraft is a super fun mod the first time you use it. Like when you're learning all the new gadgets and how they work, it's great fun. The 7th time you do it, like the 7th time you do base Thaumcraft, yeah, that's less fun. But we get to play with new toys soon. So next time we'll come back, play with new Thaumcraft toys. The cake is a lie. Yada, yada, yada. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.